So most of us, when we get online, whether we want to or not, we start playing the whole comparison game, and most artists fall into the trap of thinking that everybody else around them seems to be growing their audience in a way that's so easy and wondering why it's so difficult for them. But stick with me because I want to show you what's really going on behind the scenes and show you a way to expedite your audience growth as well. And hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell to be notified every time we release a new video so you do not miss a thing in terms of learning how to grow a business and a life that you truly love as an artist and as a creative. So let's dive into it, shall we? Now, this is the exact approach I've used to help artists literally all over the world increase their engagement, find their ideal fan base, and really grow their audience in a way that feels in alignment to them. So first, let's talk realistically, because if you're anything like me, you don't like being lied to. And most of us, when we see things online, whether we mean to or not, we can go ahead and get into this place where we assume that what we're seeing is real. And it's just not. And when we see artists that have big numbers, we really kind of go to this place where we think, oh, that must mean that they are really good at what they do, rather than really looking at it logically and understanding that the reality is one of two things is probably happening there. They either got on the platform when the algorithm was really loose and it was really easy to grow organically, which is not the case as much today, or they straight up paid for those followers and most of them are bots. So I just want to start out by really leveling the playing field for you in your mind. If you're sitting at a followership of under 1,000 followers on any platform, I don't want you to be discouraged, because the reality is that in the online entrepreneur and business world, most people that have online audiences of under 5,000 have higher engagement rates. And now, because the algorithms are so much tighter, it's more important that you have better engagement than you have high levels of followers. Passive followers do not pay your rent, but engaged fans do. So before we dive into any further strategy, go ahead and do me a favor and just clear your mind of any of your preconceived notions of what it means to be an artist and what your following needs to look like, because it's all bullshit. Okay, now that we've erased the bullshit, I'm gonna give you 4 of my favorite tips on how to really be effective at audience growth and engagement. And the first is just pick 1, maybe 2 platforms. You do not need to be on every blasted platform, y'all, I promise you. Yes, you can be when you can afford to hire a team that can create micro content and post it on every single piece of social media that's available to us today. But for now, you just need to pick 1 primary platform and you need to dominate the balls out of that platform. You need to be an expert in that platform. You need to be really, really connected to how you like showing up on that platform. And you need to get really good at understanding how your fans and your following likes to engage with you on that platform. What kinds of content are they consuming the most? What kinds of content are you creating that they're really loving? All of those things are really, really important if you really do want to be effective at audience growth. My next tip is you have to be willing to honor the platform. I have a good friend named Johnny who always uses this term, honor the platform. What does that mean? That means create content that actually works for the platform that you're choosing. So if you're going to be a primary TikToker, you can't utilize it the way that you would utilize Twitter, for example. You have to show up and really do things in a way that translates on the platform that you're using. So often artists are coming to their platforms of choice and they're using strategies that they see the traditional music business using for broadcast mediums like radio, television. It doesn't work on social media. You can't get on those platforms and you can't just broadcast the way you would if you were on a radio commercial or if you were on a radio junket. You have to get on those platforms and really create content that works for those platforms and that meets people in the place that they already are when they're on those platforms. People are getting on those platforms not to discover new music. We have to remember this. No one wakes up and goes, I really want to find some new music today. I know, I'm going to get on TikTok. That's not how we do it. We get on TikTok, we get on Instagram, we get on these things because we want to be engaged and we want to be entertained, or we might want to check out what our families and friends are doing, or creep that like old boyfriend from high school. All of these things are reasons why we get on social media. We're not doing it because we want to discover new music. That's a happy byproduct of it. So as artists who want to be savvy at audience growth, we have to know how to honor the platforms that we're choosing. So don't always think of it in terms of pushing your songs, pushing the product of music, because people aren't getting on these platforms to find new music. They're doing it as a happy accident. So create content that works for the platforms, that engages people, that helps them understand more about who you are as an artist and why you're going to add value to their life by virtue of being who you are. So I'm curious if you're resonating with this at all. Some people have really specific ideas of how they want to run social media, and I take a very decidedly different approach, because marketing, if anyone has ever taken a business course in their life, they have heard that marketing is 80% of what you do in your business. So as artists who are business owners and entrepreneurs, 80% of what we do is our marketing. So we have to be good at our marketing. So I don't like sharing music marketing tips with artists that are just gonna throw strategy at you and burn you out. If 80% of what you're doing in your business is marketing yourself and marketing your music and your art, then you have to be able to enjoy what you're doing, right? So I would love to know, what is your biggest challenge in marketing your music? Drop me a comment below. Okay, so here's the real deal. This tip on how to really grow and engage your audience is gonna scare the shit out of you a little bit, but it's necessary, so hang with me. In order to really deeply connect to and engage and attract your ideal fan, you kind of gotta tell your story. And I'm talking like the real story, not the whitewashed, like churched it up kind of story of, I started playing piano when I was 3 and then I did the church choir and no. I'm also not saying you have to pull all your skeletons out of the closet either, so don't hear me say that, but I am saying that you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. You know, Brené Brown talks a lot about vulnerability and the importance of it. I have a good friend, Roxanne, who runs the Spiritual AF account, if you guys are familiar with her. And she always says that being vulnerable is the most compelling thing about us. When we're willing to share our heart's desire, it's really, really hard for people to turn away, because it's a really beautiful, honest, compelling part of the human spirit that most people are too scared to share. And as artists, we're leaders of our own mini movements. Whether you are ready to own this or not, there's a reason why you've been called to a position of being an artist, someone that lives their life in front of others, someone that stands on stage and shares art with others. It's because you have something about the way you live your life that is both inspirational to your fans, and for some of them, they are also very aspirational. You know, they aspire to be like you and be around you. And so own that and understand that when you do own that, you are going to create a magnetism that is going to draw people to you. But it's only in the telling of your story that people really start to deeply resonate. Because most of your fans, they can't resonate with a story about how you started playing piano when you were 3 and then you did the church choir and then you went on to this accolade and that accolade and you went to this music school and that music school. Like, it's just not, it's not compelling. And just going and seeing a live show or even seeing a really visually beautifully done music video is often not enough to compel someone to stick around. I've heard it said that if a fan only connects to the song, then they are only connected for as long as the song is relevant in their lives. But if a fan connects to the artist, then you have got a fan that's going to ride with you through all the ebbs and flows of your life. So being willing to share parts of your story that you feel comfortable sharing, and to what degree, obviously, is up to you, but we want to be able to step into our vulnerability a little bit more, and I guarantee you will see things shift. I take my clients when they're going through the 6-Figure Music Business Plan program, I take them through an audience engagement challenge where we write pieces of our story, and every single time people see a boost in their engagement. It is like magnetism. So I dare you to try it. And my last favorite tip is what I like to call the deal and heal. The first part is you just gotta deal with it being what it is. Social media can feel like a necessary evil. It can feel like something that you love to hate. It can feel scary. It can feel all of these things. But you have to just be willing to deal with the fact that these are the marketing outlets we have available to us right now. And if we can stand in a place of gratitude around the fact that we are artists in a time and space where we have direct access to our fans in a way that we've never had before in the history of ever, then you can start to come to accept that you're really actually in a great place and have a great opportunity to create a career doing what you love in a way that all of the artists and generations that came before you have never had. So deal with it. There's a part that just goes, you got to pull up your big kid underwear and deal with it. But then there's this underneath layer, right? And that's the part where we have to heal the places inside of ourselves that are scared to be seen. It's interesting to me that of all the artists that I work with, 90% of them love getting on stage and playing to a sold out crowd. They're terrified to get in front of their phones. They're terrified to show up live on their social media accounts and on their platforms. What is that? Do you know? Like, I've always found that really interesting. And in my own journey, I've found it to be really, really a deeply moving experience when I start to ask myself the questions as to why I'm scared, why I'm resisting, why I am getting blocked around showing up online. Because yeah, it can be scary, but what am I actually scared of? So one thing I like to do to get really clear, and this is a story for another time, but when I did this work on myself, I really found some deep-seated beliefs around being seen that I didn't know I was carrying with me subconsciously. And once I was able to clear those, showing up on social media became so much more easeful and, quite frankly, enjoyable. So one of the things I love to do is I love to just take a few moments. If you're like me, you like meditating, but I am not a sit-still meditator. I just don't function that way. I can do it in short spurts, but I'm not going to sit there for 20 minutes. For the love of God, I have two children. I barely have time to do anything for 20 minutes. And so I like to just close my eyes, put my hand over my heart, and take a few deep breaths. And I just like to visualize myself sharing whatever it is that I want the person on the other side of the screen to feel. I did it before I even got on and shot this video. I go in with an intent. I want to identify what it is that I'm creating content to do for people. What do I want them to feel and experience? What outcome do I want to provide for them when I am creating this piece of content? And then I just take a few moments to feel what that feels like. It could feel hopeful. It could feel warm. It could feel comforting. It could feel exciting, funny, whatever, sensual, beautiful. But that's something that can really override our fear often, is when we put the focus outside of ourselves onto what it is that we are here to do. And when we can do that, it changes the frickin' game. So try it, let me know how it works. So I hope you've enjoyed this little chat. In the world of YouTube, it's very easy to find a lot of bro marketers out there that have all kinds of really flashy Facebook ads, music marketing strategies, and for us women particularly, and those of us that are a little more sensitive and don't really love the bro marketing strategies that you see so prevalent on social media, I'm here to tell you there's a different way. And gone are the days as artists of trying to create vanity metrics for the sake of having numbers. It doesn't work, and it just spends your time and your cash building something for you that doesn't return. And I'm not here to show you other ways to just throw your money into the wind. There's enough of that happening in the music industry already. I want to show you ways to truly thrive. And showing up on social media with a different energetic set point is one of the first ways to do that. So I hope this was a helpful conversation for you today. And if you'd like to know more about working together, you can book in a call with me below. The link is below the video in the description. And be sure to tune in next week for our next video. And I can't wait to see you then. Bye now. Mwah.